Hello and welcome to American Top 40. I'm Casey Kasem, and this...
Hey, baby, welcome on in here to the Wolfman Jack Show for a Tuesday night.
Do not attempt to change the channel. Your regularly scheduled program will not be heard because we are controlling the transmission. Prepare to have your mind enlightened as your third eye opens. This is Third Eye Radio with Dave Wyndorf and Walt Flanagan.
Welcome to Third Eye Radio. I'm Walt Flanagan, and I'm joined, as always, by the one and only Dave Wyndorf.
Coming to you from the one, the only Airport Plaza.
It's a little moist in the Airport Plaza today.
Yeah.
Spring has come early. But it's been a while. It's since we sat down, we're able to record.
Too long, my friend.
What's going on in Monster Magnet World? I know you're working on an album, right?
Yeah, new album coming out, tentatively titled...
Ooh.
What's the tentatively title? I can't remember. Anywhere But Earth.
That's cool.
Because that's kind of like where I'd like to live right now. That's the tentative title, and it's really weird stuff. It's melancholy and got a lot of old school, like Mellotron sounds on it, which I don't usually use a lot in this stuff, but mixed in with like Alice Cooper leads, and it's all over the place, but it's not really in any one spot that we've been in before. So I'm really excited about it. You know, it's definitely not a fist in the air rock album. It's more of a weirdo album.
Oh, that sounds
which
very
makes
interesting.
Me really happy. You know?
And Mellotronin, did you call it?
The Mellotron, yeah.
Is that the thing that they don't even make it anymore? It was like it had the
what they did was the original samples. That was the original sampler. It was tape recordings of a symphony orchestra, woodwinds and stuff. So they tried to this is like before, they didn't actually sample it. They taped it, and of course the tape was kind of wobbly, so it's all chuddy and weird and very melancholy, kind of lo-fi.
Right.
So it's got a sound that just I've been in love with since I heard Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson. That's what comes in the beginning of that song. It's like you hear this. Yeah. It's like, what is that? It's like the sounds of strings frowning.
Ooh.
Like really weird. And so I'm in love with it, and I've wanted to do a whole record with a lot of that stuff on it. So that's on there.
And is it an actual, or is it more of a digital version?
There's samples.
Okay.
There are samples of the original one.
I heard that some crazy rich guy was buying all the Mellotrons and collecting them. I can't remember who it was.
Lenny Kravitz was.
Yes, I think you told me that he was buying all of them up.
Yeah, and more than that, man, he had this whole big warehouse outside of the city, in somewhere in New Jersey.
And
where he had all stuff.
How many people do you think on the planet are able to repair one if it breaks? Do you think
there's probably one guy next to the 50 final piano tuners, and I played a real one before, and man, it's so beautiful and so great and such a pain in the ass. I mean, you have to retune it. Each key operated a separate loop of tape.
Yeah.
So if it's, if you've got 38 keys, that's 38 separate pieces of little tape, like cassette.
And who was the world's premier player of this instrument? Would you call, or just
the theremin?
Yeah, who was the best at it?
Oh, well, the first guy that got famous for using it, with first band was Moody Blues, because they had Nights in White Satin, which is pretty early. I think it was 68. So he was considered the guy. It wasn't like the theremin, where they did have people, the theremin, that Star Trek thing. That's on this record too.
Awesome.
A lot of that.
And what do you have a date yet? or a tentative
No,
date?
because we've been putting this together in odd lots of time, like months where nothing goes by, and then like in a couple months where it's just one day at a time, because of financial reasons and all this kind of stuff, and we had health reasons, and I had health reasons I had to stop, and so it's taken forever, but it's really not forever because the amount of hours put into it is just the same as regular. So I can't really say exactly when, but 2025.
Awesome.
End of 2025, or at least it'll be announced. These days with the vinyl production, sometimes you need like something like 6 months.
And how many tracks do you think it'll have? Like, what's
I'm going to keep it small, like 10 tracks, but some of the songs are 7 minutes long. They have these long, weird outros and all kinds of spacey, but not the usual kind of Monster Mag spacey. There's more room for other instruments just besides fuzz guitars, like these weird instruments and like oboes and cellos and stuff, all the stuff that makes you sad. And better because they're these chuddy sounds. Like the sounds are automatically way fucked up and cool.
Right.
It's not like, believe me, I looked through all the modern samples of modern orchestras that all the people use for, hardly anybody uses a real orchestra for movies anymore. They use samples, you play it out, Some people do, but most of the orchestral music you hear on movies is all digital.
Okay.
But they're samples, they're really, really high quality samples. You can play the whole thing on a keyboard. That's what Danny Elfman did. Mm-hmm. All his stuff was on a synclavier.
I am looking forward to it, though.
But what I notice about new strings and new is that it's so clean. It's so clean and so beautiful that it sounds fake to me because I'm used to hearing classical music on old records,
right,
and Mellotron and stuff and old. So it's got to have that stink, that old kind of fuzzy.
Right. I cannot wait. I wish you the best of luck with it.
Thanks, man.
And we are going to talk weird today. Weird.
Yes.
You said weird a couple times there. We're definitely going weird. Talk some comics. Steve Ditko today. And more specifically, Shade, the Changing Man from 1977. A series that is...
Talk about coming out at the wrong time. You know what I mean? It's like... completely against the tide of new storytelling.
Before we get into Shade, though, what were your feelings on Steve Ditko, the artist, and then the enigma of the human being as well?
Well, it's all good to me because he was just like this outrageous character. So as far as I was concerned, Steve Ditko could, even when he did lots of wrong, could do no wrong. It was just like, this guy is a force of nature. The world is a lot cooler place because he's in it. He was just, man, he did it his own way all the way to the end.
Oh yeah. He stayed true to he stayed true to his beliefs and stuck to his guns. But he is, without a doubt, responsible either for some will argue the creator of Spider-Man, or at the very least a co-creator of Spider-Man.
Yeah, and the true author of Spider-Man. He was terrible dialogue, but he did all that. All that storytelling was him.
Yeah.
He told the story. There's no way Stan Lee could have rewritten. He had to follow Steve Ditko's. It's just like Jack Kirby. There's just no way. Yeah. Stan Lee had to adhere to the story that was being told. And that was his hit. That and that early Doctor Strange stuff was Ditko's, I think, peak of storytelling, because he held back, knowing that people had to understand it. By the time we get to Shade, he doesn't give a shit if people understand it or not, which is why I like it. It's crazy.
I would put Spider-Man. I think it's Superman, Batman, Spider-Man in the top 3 comic book creations ever. It has to be, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what number 4 is, but number 3 is definitely Spider-Man. And
Spidey's just so enjoyable time and time again. If you read the first 100 issues or first 60 issues or 70 issues of Spider-Man, you're never disappointed.
No, and all that shit that is, all that bedrock foundation of all those villains and the characters, the subplots.
Yeah, and done in a quick amount of time,
has generated now billions off the back of Steve Ditko's.
Yes, and will continue. I mean, it's like, talk about, I mean, him and Kirby at the same time, just firing it out, man. Just opening up that cerebellum, and that stuff was pouring out. And in a short amount of time, I mean, there's no setup in those old comic books. It's just, what do we got for you this month? What do you got this month?
I only have 12 pages.
I only have 12 pages, and I have to top myself every single month. The amount of stuff that came out, it's like you read them. When I was a kid, I used to, for a little while, think that the early stuff was inferior. Because I had gotten into comics in around '67, so the art was better.
Yeah, and Steranko, and there's a little bit of changing of the guard.
So I'm looking at that and I'm going, oh, this is wiggly and wonky. But it wasn't until a couple years later when they started releasing Marvel Tales and Marvel Superheroes, and all the reprints were coming out. They came out in the '60s as well. So that's how I got caught up on all the old Spider-Mans. So within a year, when I started reading comics, they were already reprinting in these 25-cent editions, like all the Spideys and the FFs. And I read the
So
stories.
initially you were not immediately taken by Ditko's artwork, because I feel I was the same exact way. I broke into the Bronze Age with Bushima and Romita, and
everything's big and refined.
Yeah, so for me,
there's no room for squirrely and spidery.
There it was a very much of like, I could not get into it.
Ditko's not a handsome artist.
No,
and the stuff that we were looking at, most of it was, I mean, the top drawer was like Bushima and stuff. That stuff, handsome art. Everything looks slick, powerful.
Yeah.
And Ditko to me was just like this weirdo. And I was like, all the people look weird, funny. They look like from a 1920s movie, and they do. Little old mustaches that nobody wore anymore. And his propensity to use really old people. Like, why is he using really old people? Like, the security guard would look like he was 90 years old. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The old mustache. Hey, what are you kids doing?
And everybody, like, from that era of comic books, every man is dressed the same in that suit and hat.
Yeah.
A world that has just disappeared.
It had already disappeared by the time when he was doing it, it was 30 years gone. You know what I mean? I mean, he's drawing from the movies he saw.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And he got it in his head that that's the way the people dressed. Because what did he know about the world? He never went outside. You know what I mean? It's not like Dick goes out there in Central Park, like checking out the girls. He spent his whole life inside.
In a studio. Cranking out comic book page after comic book page after comic book page.
And when he did go to the movies back when he was younger, he saw everything he needed to see. It's not like Jack Kirby, who actually watched TV. Jack Kirby watched a lot of TV and got a lot of magazines. So he may be a little behind the curve, but that's why you see Jack Kirby always updating his stuff. That there was hippies and all this stuff. And the only time that you could tell at the point where Ditko stopped paying attention to the real world. So it was like when hippies came in, because he immediately hated the whole thing. He immediately hated them, made them the bad guys, and then lost his shit.
I have such an affection for those old comics where the villains are all dressed in suits with hats.
Love it.
It's something I don't know when it stopped, but it's
classic American pulp Hollywood fiction. That was the tenet of crime and villain drama for a good 40 years.
Right?
And it didn't, even when things came to replace it, it hung on forever. And it's hanging on now in my heart. I love it.
That's what I'm saying. Is like there is a moment where it just stopped in pop culture where bad guys dressed like that, or all guys. I don't know when it was in comics, but I think I would put it in the 70s. I still think even to the 70s, they were still drawing guys.
Well, they still had characters like the Kingpin around, but nothing compares to like Ditko's the big man, or he had just guys in like bowler hats. I mean, the enforcers or something like that. Yeah, the Kingpin was still around, and then Miller knew that. You know, Miller was kind of a guy that tried to keep some of that old
Frank
noir
Miller,
stuff around.
Yeah.
You know,
He loved that gangster.
Keeping it on the street kind of thing. And Kingpin was a real guy, you know. But now,
contributions that Ditko made to comic books and pop culture are, if it was just Spider-Man, like that's it. It's all you need. That would be it. If you could walk away and be a legend.
Forever and ever.
But it's also Doctor Strange, like you mentioned.
Oh, man, those when he got his win. The first bunch of Stranges are like kind of all over the place. And then he got into the story about Dormammu and Mordo. And, man, it was off to the races. Like, this guy, it's Salvador Dali.
That's a great analogy. Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. That is a great comparison. So then you have, I mean, we could talk just a whole episode on Ditko, on Doctor Strange, but there are so many. I mean, I have a list of characters.
He's really just prolific.
Nuts.
Yeah, he just went crazy.
Absolutely. Like Kraven the Hunter, all the villains.
The best.
Green Goblin, Ancient One.
Doc Ock.
Yes, Captain Atom, not a Marvel or DC character, but he would work for any company that I guess would give him a job. Yeah. Like he worked for Warren.
Yeah, I mean, for Charlton. He went to Charlton because they didn't get on his back. He didn't even care about how the words came out. He was just like, I want to draw what I want to draw. You know. Did you
ever see? I'm sure you. I mean, who am I? Why would I ask you this? But I mean, the eerie or creepy gray tone wash that Ditko did.
It's a mess. Those are masterpieces.
They don't look anything like the stuff that I was exposed to initially. Because if he drew like that,
it's like that shows you. It's like what happens to a guy who gets a bee in his bonnet to say, I'm going to do something good. Yeah. You know, and sometimes he said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this good, and other times he said, I'll do this because I get paid. That gray wash stuff, masterpieces. I mean, nothing in the world looks like that or ever will. I dare anybody.
Yes, nothing.
I dare any artist hey, do that. You know, do that as cool as that. It's not going to happen.
But like you said, Captain Atom, just a great concept.
Great concept.
And
Blue Beetle. Other great concept.
Clea, the Creeper.
The Creeper.
What a great name.
I know.
What a great concept, too. Yes. It's just a maniac.
Yes, a maniac. Laughing all the time.
Electro. The Enforcers, like you said, the Green Goblin, Hawk and Dove.
Oh, look, great comic. Great concept.
The Leader from the Hulk.
Yeah, we forget. Some of Ditko's coolest stuff was on that weird little thing. And the only thing that makes me sad about his run on the Hulk is that he didn't ink himself, which is weird. That's weird for him. He was inked by George Russo as George Bell.
Oh, okay.
So it's not, it's all there. I mean, it's still Ditko and stuff, but it's not the usual Ditko. But the Leader, what a great character.
Mysterio, Nightshade, Dr. Octopus, like you said, J. Jonah Jameson, The Question.
Ulture. The Question. Yeah, absolutely nuts. You know, it's like, there you go, you know. Who else is going to come up with this guy? and like, I don't know, forget that hat. It's not a fedora. It's a little bit smaller. There's a name for that hat. A suit, no face. He's called The Question. And he's questioning things. Like, what are you doing?
Just cleaning up the streets.
Clean up the streets.
There is no gray. It's just black or white.
Good or bad. I mean, every once in a while, the truth, the truth hurts.
Yeah, but what a resume. And what wasn't on that list, though, was the Shade. Or Shade the Changing, not the Shade, Shade the Changing Man.
Shade the Changing Man, Rack Shade.
77. So do you buy this off the rack or do you?
No, I at that time I was like, I looked at it and I was like, it's just out of date Ditko. Because there was a lot of Ditko around. You know what I mean? Like I did the same thing. No, I might have bought one and I didn't appreciate it the way I appreciated it years later. So, and I felt the same way about Kirby at that time because I'd already seen Kirby, I thought hit his heights with the last days of the FF and Thor and all that stuff. And everything after that in my brain was him being a little rattle trap. Yeah, I didn't get the fact that, there's all these eras of Kirby, and they should be appreciated in a different way. So, and that was around the same time that Kirby was doing his last hurrah at the big guys.
He came back to Marvel in 77.
Yeah, right. And did all his big abstract, crazy stuff, which I love now. You know, the Captain America is great. And of course, Devil Dinosaur, which is all-time favorite.
And Eternals, which is just bonkers.
Yeah, which is bonkers.
I can't even get into it.
It's not fun to
read, but the concept is so cool. You're like, how could this not be?
It certainly is fun to look at. I mean, as far as like, you want to get some splash pages, like give me a book of splash pages. But yeah, I mean, at that point, I had been introduced to more sophisticated storytelling and was kind of going, like X-Men and stuff, and going like, well, the stuff it's just a lot slicker. It's paced out and well. Let's just face it. I mean, for a while there, both Kirby and Ditko had produced so much stuff that it seemed like yesterday's news.
I was haunting the newsstands in 77. I was there every week. I remember seeing on the rack Shade the Changing Man, but I was a Marvel zombie.
Yeah, look at this weird list.
Yeah, to me it held no. It couldn't draw me in at all, and
no, it's tough to read. It's tough to read. There's a lot of words in there. The panels are really small. Sometimes they're 9-panel grids of tiny little Steve Ditko weirdness with a lot of copy, and he's introducing characters way too fast. He's just piling on this stuff. He's trying his best to like lay down the thing that somebody would follow, but I mean, if you're not into following it like that.
No, I chalk it up to just, an error of youth because looking at it, the concept, now as an adult and all the cool little inventions that he put in and just the little touches. But it was not script, I guess dialogued by Michael Fleischer.
Yeah.
Who the one thing that's his standout for me is that Spectre stuff with Aparo.
Yeah, which I love.
Where like the Spectre was like fucking
he was a real hardcore vengeance. God's hardcore vengeance. Like if some guy was guilty of burning down a forest, then he was turned to wood and then burned.
Put him through a wood chipper.
Yeah, wood chipper.
Yeah, put him like a buzzsaw. Just cut him into a million pieces.
That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
And Fleischer had a huge long run on a book that looked cool, and I would love to see if they collected nowadays, if they did a big giant omnibus of Jonah Hex. I didn't buy Jonah Hex back in the day. He
wrote the best Jonah Hex stories. And Jonah Hex is like a guilty pleasure of mine. After years of not reading it now, I go in and I pick these like runs of it, on the free comic website and stuff, and I'll pick a run and go, all right, these are really cool. These are really cool.
Yeah. I wasn't into Westerns when I was a kid, so I would see the Jonah Hex on the stands alongside.
Yeah, they had cool covers, but it's like it's a Western. You're not gonna spend your money on a Western.
Yeah, I wanted colorful characters and costumes, and
yeah, me too.
Yeah, but the time of when this book comes out is a weird time for DC and Marvel.
Yeah, well, DC was just about to experience the implosion.
Yeah, I have that in my notes.
They almost went like totally sunk,
Do you remember what one of the major causes of the implosion? Because I remember it.
Bad winter.
Yeah, it was a fucking blizzard that kept us out of school. I lived in Woodbridge, and it kept us out of school for 2 weeks. But in that time, I would trudge through snow that it basically was up to my neck because I was a kid, and I would go to the Krausers. I don't remember comics not making it to the stands, but apparently DC Comics were having a hell of a time getting to the stands during the blizzard and post-blizzard.
And it was a terrible time where they were, I think, had spent a lot of money expanding the line. And am I remembering this right? And went out trying to go out with all extra amount of titles at the same time.
Well, they called it, there was a big marketing campaign called the DC Explosion. So after the blizzard, when they start canceling 17 titles, they canceled. DC did.
Yeah, it's amazing.
17. And that's got to be half their output, I would think.
Now, was that ordered by Jeanette Kahn? Did she take over and automatically order
I thought Carmine was involved.
Okay, all right. So that was one of Carmine's last.
Infantino, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of his last, edicts, right?
This is what DC canceled: Army at War, All Star Classics, Batman Family, Battle Classics, Black Lightning, Claw, Doorway to Nightmare, Dynamic Classics, Firestorm, House of Secrets, Commandy, Our Fighting Forces, Secrets of Haunted House, Showcase, Star Hunter, Steel, Shade the Changing Man, The Witching Hour, and some books that were on the docket to be about to be released but were canceled were The Vixen, who she would later show up in Justice League. Mike Grell's Star Slayer was going to be a DC comic book.
I never knew that.
Yeah, and which is a great indie comic, Pacific Comics.
Yeah.
About Celtic barbarian transported to the future.
Yeah, I love Star Slayer.
Yeah, one of Mike Grell's seldom talked about concepts. He rarely gets mentioned, like Warlord or John Sable.
Yeah, I think it's because he didn't do a lot of issues. I think
he kind of took off after 6 issues. But and another one that got canceled but would see the light of day 5 years later would be Martin Pasco's Swamp Thing revival,
right,
with Tom Yeats,
which is good.
It is good.
Yeah.
It has the unfortunate living in the shadow of Alan Moore.
Yeah, but in retrospect, it really holds up, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, Tom Yeats is no slouch. He's a really, really good artist.
Sometimes I still go like, I want Yeats. Like I'll wake up and I'll just think, I want to see some Yeats.
Yeah, really, really underrated artist who doesn't Gendo like Bissett and Todelman just were a shock to the system though, and. So it's hard to be like.
No, I mean
it's hard to put. You say, oh, but Yeats too. Don't forget Yeats because those guys just.
There's no regrets on my point. I mean, Yeats has done a lot of fine stuff, but he's never the kind of guy that's gonna. He's so classy that he doesn't shock anybody like the Bissett and Totalman thing. So he's got his point. You ever see the Tarzan he did where it's Tarzan with a Tommy gun?
Is that for the strips?
No, I think it's for Dark Horse. He did a Tarzan story where he's running around with an old Tommy gun, machine gun. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, there was some good Tarzan stuff from Dark Horse.
Yeah.
Tarzan, I mean, I don't think anybody would touch Tarzan today, but Dark Horse fucking had that license for years.
Well, I think Tarzan is about to go into public domain.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Does anybody have the...
Well, 1929.
Is there a new twist in 2025 that people will...
Well, it's politically, everybody hates it because it's politically incorrect, so it's going to bring a lot of shit, but he'll be back. Yeah. You know, like for the last 10 years, everyone's been out of their mind, but he'll be back.
So tell us the concept of Shade the Changing Man, because it's a mouthful.
Yeah, I'm trying to, I mean, again, like we got to say that the main reason that we're even, I think, talking about this book is because it's a madhouse, a bit of a madhouse of Steve Ditko just pouring everything he's got into something, whether it's the best concept in the world or not, he's going to put out every idea that's in his goddamn head, and he's going to draw the living hell out of it. So the concept is there's another dimension besides Earth. There's a couple dimensions besides Earth. One of them is, I can't remember the name of it because it's so confusing.
Well, the guy's name is Rack Shade.
Yeah, he's Rack.
R-A-C, last name Shade.
Right.
And he's
part of this other dimension.
Yeah, he lives in another dimension, but he also has a safe house on Earth, though.
Yes, he does.
And he's a political prisoner in this other dimension, or is he framed?
He was framed. He was in the other dimension. He was framed for
blowing up his girlfriend's family or something like that.
Yeah, blowing up his girlfriend's family and stealing this ultra powerful M vest.
Such a cool concept, though.
The concept.
I couldn't see it as a kid, but now you're like, this is dope.
Well, it's so subtle. I mean, that's why I love it now. It's like he's changing, but it's not like when they go, Shade's the changing man, you expect him to like change into a lizard or something. No, he suddenly just gets the people that are fighting him see his like eye get bigger. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, his eye is
grotesque distortions.
These grotesque distortions, which are drawn with love. I mean, and the fist gets a little bigger and then a little bigger, but it's no like I changed into Godzilla. It's all quirky Ditko stuff, beautifully done. I mean, I just love the way he pulled that off. He also scares people. You know, naturally that would scare the shit out of people. And he's fighting basically soldiers and extra-dimensional gangsters, except for when it's some outrageous character.
Well, he introduces, I guess, a baddie, his Joker, which is called Chaos with a K.
Yeah.
And I am shocked because he's yellow body with a whole bunch of weird black energy looking. To me, it looks like it would be like almost like a Rorschach.
Yeah.
Where it would move. And like over his body, these black bulbous
That's
things
cool.
that move. Yeah. I got to be honest with you. I can't believe that nobody has brought that Chaos character back in some form. Maybe they have, but I didn't find it.
I think everybody blinked and missed it. I mean, he introduced one character. I mean, for the first 3 issues, he's just top loading new characters. Like Chaos comes in, he doesn't come back till like the 7th issue. You know, he appears like in issue number 1 or 2, then disappears. Ditko fills all this backstory up. And it's only towards issue number 6 that everyone starts coming back. But there was Chaos, and then there was a couple others. There was a woman character.
Yeah.
Super baddie. That's why it's so hard for me to remember, because he was just loading everything too fast.
Yeah, he's just, you know what, he had good reason to, because DC was not going to give it time to breathe. They canceled it. They probably would have got canceled even without the implosion, but even without the snowstorm, I don't know if this was long for the world.
I don't think so either.
But the vest itself would, now, how you saw it work, did you think it was, did you think it was a hallucinogenic, psychedelic mirage, or did you think that working only on the people in his close proximity, or do you think it was, he actually did like turn into these things though?
Well, he certainly, Ditko doesn't, or Fleischer wants to explain what that is. But if I had to guess, yeah, it was a mirage.
Yeah. And the concept of this vest that gives him this ability to do this
also protects him from harm somewhat. Like
it has
somebody shoots a gun at him, he's not going to die. He'll feel the bullet, but it's not going to go through like a force field.
Design wise, though, when you're putting it out there and you want to get kids like me in 77 to pick it up, it's just a weird decision to give him no pants. So he looks like he's wearing a woman's one-piece bikini. Right?
Basically, it's a legless unitard, you know?
Yeah, it's really weird.
It's Steve Ditko. He's not going to do it. You can call him up. The editor can call him up and say, Steve, maybe you ought to take a look at a couple magazines.
Can we redesign this?
Click. Bare-legged all the way.
That's what it was. Very strange looking, and just up against the Marvels. You got Byrne on X-Men.
Yeah, forget it. I mean, just absolutely forget it. And and that leads right back to like how we both were like, there's no way on earth that I'm going to really follow this. For one thing, it's so jam-packed, it's hard to follow. Now, I've read this comic book now maybe at 3 separate occasions in the last couple of years, and I still can't remember.
It is.
And that's the comic book's fault. You know what I mean? I remember all the art, and I remember all the stuff I like about it, but I can't remember the story. That's not my fault. That's the comic book's fault.
But but the reason that you adore it, and I see why you do, is because it allows Ditko to do those other dimensional things where there's these giant heads and the eyeballs have arms and legs.
Well, and the land itself, I mean, the other dimensional world where they live in appears to me to be covered with about 5 inches of water, and everything is built above it. So this is the kind of thing I noticed. So every once in a while, like Milou, the girlfriend, who is totally hot, is Ditko's best woman ever.
Now that's very interesting you say that, because
you noticed it, right?
No, because I'm like, Ditko it would never be known. He would never be the guy like draw a beautiful woman.
No, he's not Vargas. No,
there is no way on the planet. I'm surprised.
But she's Ditko hot. All right, let's see. I like her costumes, and she's busty.
Because you're talking like the great like female male who drew beautiful females.
Like Bashima.
Bashima,
probably the best.
Adam Hughes.
Yeah.
There's
Wally Wood.
Really
good.
Dave Stevens. But Ditko is going to be the last person on that list.
No, Kirby's the last person.
Yeah.
Ditko's up. Kirby just wow. I mean, all his women look like men.
Yeah.
Yeah, just with same shoulders, like. But so his land, and I liked the girl. I thought she was hot, and I liked her outfits because Steve Ditko did the best early, and he kept with it from Clea on. These really finely detailed like tunics that they wore with this little psychedelic stuff, and sometimes polka dot bottom, and just the clothes are really good. But at one point, I'm talking about that. So now I'm talking about this world which is built on these pieces of rock that kind of go up hundreds of feet in the air and then curve over. And there's city stuff built on all these pieces of rock. But down at the bottom, and we should be lucky we got a bottom because Doctor Strange's Dormammu, you never saw the bottom of his world. No. Everything was floating. You never saw a floor.
Yeah, and there was no
earth.
And it went on for infinity.
Yeah, right, and it was all in the air. This is kind of like that, but he actually shows you the bottom. And there's a couple points where just they're throwaway things, like the girl Milu decides to go. I think I'll just go for a walk, and this is her house, and all of a sudden she's walking just on this tiny little strip, and there's just water all around her, and it's like that's next to her house. I guess they all walk down to take a walk, and then Shade is on his way somewhere, and he's walking, and he's like 5 inches up to his feet in water. And you see in the background these tall cityscapes and stuff. Now, who would think of that? I mean, it's just so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it sets up this feeling in me where I'm just like, I could look at more of this. I don't care if this makes any sense or not. The fact that him and Fleischer are trying to pack all this story information and backstory information in these giant paragraphs, that's not that good. Doesn't bother me at all.
No, I'm not bothered by either. I mean, I brought that omnibus that collects the Shaded Changing Man. If anybody's interested, there is a hardcover.
It's beautiful
out there. I brought it day one, the day it came out, and even though I wanted to get into that stuff because I didn't get into it when I was a kid, and there was absolutely not one pang of regret. Because I just looked at that and I'm like, this is fucking wild.
I know, man.
Like, how old is Ditko at this point? Like, when you think it's 77? Because they say this is his last
probably
major work for DC.
He's in his 60s.
That is like...
He's drawing his ass off. I mean, he really poured it all into that. I mean, this is way better than... we were talking about the other stuff he did at this time, and some of it's, some of it he cares, some of it not. He definitely cared about this.
And so DC doesn't. This is the last time he gets his own book at #1.
Yeah,
like he gets the chance to like create a character and give it its own comic.
And interesting, him and Kirby are kind of in the same boat at this point.
Yeah, and there's this would be the last swing at DC. Now he would go on to Marvel and work much later into the '80s, but never on anything where he's given. Like a launching pad for it. Like he comes in and fills in on.
And he never inked himself again. Like they always insisted on an inker, and they had good inkers in Marvel. Like when he came in, he did like Speedball or something. He'd come in and do some issues of Micronauts, which are really good.
Yeah, but when you're
he did an annual.
But like for me, I love the Micronauts. I love Michael Golden. I love Pat Broderick. So when you saw that Ditko pop up, you were like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, is this somebody ideas of like a big middle finger? Some old jerk like we're gonna give Ditko this, but he was always inked by somebody else, and like he didn't ink himself anymore, and that's Ditko's big charm.
I don't know if you've ever seen it, but like one of his last. Not his he did Speedball, like you said, almost into the late 80s, 90s, I thought, for Marvel. He did find work at Marvel after this. He finished up ROM, inked by P. Craig Russell.
Which was really nice.
Yeah. He had a lot. He did Captain Universe.
Yep.
But nothing where
he did like some Marvel spotlights, like Dragon Lord, which looked really good.
And you know what that was? It was a Godzilla story, a Godzilla inventory story that they just changed it.
Really?
Before, when Godzilla got canceled, they had
I love that
kicking
little
around.
comic. That's a one-shot thing. I love that.
I remember when that came out, and I was like, "What is this?"
Well, it's got a hell of a cover on it. I'll tell you that, man. That's one of the best.
And I'm like,
I dare you not to buy that. You know?
and it felt like this was a new concept that was going to be explored, and you never saw anything ever spoken about again. But yeah, I looked it up for our episode today, and yeah, that was a Godzilla inventory story that just never got used, so they reconfigured it to become a new character called Dragon Lord.
A couple other that just point out for stuff that I like that is there's a bad guy called Sood. Now they're terrible names you can't remember. Sood, which just seems to be a big inflatable ball with tiny little arms.
Yes,
that screams at people. I mean,
like a
big,
mad ball.
like a giant mad ball. And I mean big. 30 feet high. 20 feet across or whatever. 30 feet round. But it's actually like an old woman inside this robot thing who calls herself and himself the Master Decider. No, the Supreme Decider. That's the name. I am Sood, the Supreme Decider. It's crazy.
Yeah. There's some wild and out there concepts.
Oh, yeah, like flying little police things, and the police are really cool. And there's a place in between the two dimensions, this kind of negative zone kind of thing, which has a part in that called the area of madness, where people come back. And the doctor goes, I don't know why they're all turned into pathetic, screeching maniacs. And Ditko's lettering is just E's surrounding his head like bees, like buzzing. Yeah. So they're all these pathetic, screeching people that are just going to be mad and in torture until they die. They'll just die of being in pain and being mad.
Mental distress, yeah.
Yeah, it's just one thing after the next. They just keep throwing in there.
Well, I mean, you're not going to... So he leaves Spider-Man, I guess of his own accord? Or did he...
Yeah, he quit.
Yeah, never went back. Didn't want to go back for all intents and purposes. It sounds like he was honest. Like he had no interest.
Yeah, he was mad as a hornet. Yeah, he was mad.
He would work anywhere. The smallest comic book company. If you got him on the right day, I think he would work for. Yeah. And he couldn't have been making big money at that point working for these small companies. No. I wouldn't think, but he was everywhere. I remember. I don't remember who it was. Oh, it was Scott Snyder. Appeared on an episode of Comic Book Man, and he was talking about, not on camera, but he was talking about how he wanted to work with Ditko, and he wanted to bring back Mr. A.
Yeah.
And he said that that him and Frank Miller would work on it with him and would bring it back, and he went to a studio, and he had no interest in doing it. Could care less, didn't care about anything that they were talking about, how they would be huge. But he said what it took away from him was that he was destroying old art boards that he had drawn on.
Dude, I saw that for real. I know somebody. I was in New York City, and I knew a guy because I was hanging around with the guys from Punk Magazine, who are all old comic book fans. And there was one guy that was a friend of the guys from Punk Magazine who would deliver art back and forth from Steve Ditko to DC at the time. He was telling me that, he goes, There's turning over the things and doing stuff over original Spider-Man art.
Yeah.
And I was like, get the fuck out of here. And one day he showed me, came to where I was living on St. Mark's Place. And he goes, I'm on my way. I'm on my way to DC from Ditko now. I want you to see this. And there it was.
Yeah. But he would cut it up just to draw on the back of something that probably was worth 10.
Yeah.
At that point, tens of thousands.
Original
now would be
Spider-Man.
Worth
That's what he showed
thousands.
me. It was like Spider-Man number 29 or something.
Artwork that would go in the hundreds of thousands now.
Yeah.
He didn't care. And legitimately, I don't like you. People say I don't care and they don't mean it, but this guy I don't think cared.
No, he didn't. He was, he was a mentally disturbed person. Obviously had some would say, I just think, he was off.
He lived a long life. He died in 2018 in his 90s.
Yeah.
With
after rotting in his apartment for quite a long time, I understand.
Yeah, I mean,
they said it was like probably around 3 weeks before anybody saw him.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like doing a Gene Hackman.
All right, I didn't know you.
R.I.P..
Okay, I didn't know you meant post-mortem. I thought you meant that like he lived a kind of hermit lifestyle.
Well, he did, and that's why nobody checked on. So he'd been dead in there for a long time before anybody noticed. Do you ever see In Search of Steve Ditko?
No,
Go on YouTube.
I've heard of it though.
Great.
Yeah, it's good, worth
You'll love
watching.
it, yeah.
But a true, absolute visionary legend, and it sucks that when people talk about Spider-Man, you don't. The next thing out of your mouth isn't Steve Ditko.
No,
It's not.
it's not. And he's the guy that's like, I mean, yeah, there would have been a Spider-Man, but if he looked anything like the Jack Kirby Spider-Man, I mean, it's like, I don't know who actually, I think it went, Jack Kirby's first Spider-Man he looked like kind of like not the Blue Beetle. There's another Kirby. Anyway, he had
Fly?
a gun. He looks like the Fly.
Mm-hmm.
That was the thing. And then Lee gave it over to Ditko. Ditko did his own costume, which is arguably one of the best costumes ever in the history of the thing. And then Ditko did a cover he goes, all right, Ditko's got the job for Spider-Man. And then when it came time to the cover, Stan Lee rejected Ditko's cover and got Jack Kirby to draw Ditko's Spider-Man,
Did you ever see that picture though it puts into contention the costume of Spider-Man, because in 1960 or 59 there's a catalog of Halloween costumes for children.
Yeah, I'm sure that's where Ditko got it from.
Either Lee was like, draw it like this, or Ditko seen that picture.
Yeah, definitely it came from that. No, there's no mistake.
Yeah, there's a picture. You could Google it if you're interested. And it's a Halloween costume, and it's so similar to what Spider-Man looks like, but it's years before Spider-Man comes out. And they don't even call it Spider-Man. I don't know what they call that costume of the kid.
It was called the Spider-Man.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it's called the Spider. Yeah, it's called
it was that on the money. Okay.
Another theory is that when Ditko back in the day, he actually had a roommate for a while when he was still a human being, and his roommate was Bill Ward, who
I know that name,
not the drummer from Black Sabbath,
okay,
but he's a beloved pinup artist. He used to draw bondage girls with big boobs and a lot of gray wash, and if you saw his stuff, so those guys. And he was also a commercial artist. He would come in and he'd do a lot of commercial work, and would always knew that Ditko was doing comics and would come in and give him ideas for stuff and go, hey, you might like this, you might like that. So that's another theory that where Ditko could have seen that catalog. There's no doubt that's not a coincidence.
Very unique guy, though. I did some reading up on him, and it's super interesting.
He's a legend. I have a couple books on him, and to see all this stuff together like that, his whole thing, and just to go through the book and just see all this difference. I was like, wow, this guy really. I couldn't imagine comics without him. There'd be a big gaping hole in fun.
Yeah. We have a little bit of time. Did you watch the movie?
Yes. Yeah.
We were gonna do two topics today on Third Eye Radio, and glad you did, because man, I watched it.
I'm so glad I did, man, because I was like, really, Road Warrior?
Well, I'll tell you why I picked it, because I want to see if you picked up on it.
I did. I certainly
Tell me
did.
what's the first comic book you thought of when you watched that movie?
Where is George Miller? Why didn't it happen? Why didn't some wonderful large movie company go, something, Mr. Miller, who's directed every Road Warrior movie, would you like to do a project called The Cursed Earth?
Absolutely, yes.
Because I think you got the eye for it. It is. The Earth is cursed. It's there.
Yes, it's
like the Lawrence of Arabia of B movies,
I saw that movie originally. We're talking about the Road Warrior. Yeah, the Road Warrior from 1982 or 81.
Back in the
82.
Well, once again, 82 always comes up. 82, 83. It's like, what a great time for movies. What a great movie.
What a great movie. I had not seen the original when I saw it. I walked into a theater cold, didn't know what I was walking. It looks like to any other post-apocalyptic 80s movie that were churned out by the boatload in the
Right.
80s.
This is not like that.
No, this has a pedigree. This has an aura of just, it's different.
The Cursed Earth.
It's
there. I mean, this director is so great. The use of space. He uses space like a comic book, and he's not heavy on dialogue. It's a movie. It moves. And his scope, the back shots of and no special effects.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like David Lean. David Lean did the same thing in Lawrence of Arabia, which is not a pulp movie, but equally as great. You get the scope and space of where they are, and then you get the close-up grit of an absolutely terrifying existence of trying, you just think about trying to climb onto cars in real life. So, I mean, and it's all real. There's no ditch in it. There's no
practical effects, man. It's all
super fakery, except for, when to cut and when to, how to do it. The amount of work he must have done planning those shots is just outrageous.
Had a $4.5 million budget. How do you make that movie on only $4.5 million?
With a bunch of underpaid actors
and stuntmen.
And not a lot of dialogue.
Now, like I said, I saw this in the theater with no expectations, and I left going that's the greatest comic book movie I will ever see.
I agree with you. There's a couple of movies that I think that way. Die Hard's one of them. Is a great Spider-Man movie. And this one really feels like a comic book.
I present to you that what came first?
I present to you.
What came first? Is it Road Warrior or is it fucking 2000 AD?
2000 AD.
The Marauders in that movie.
Punk rockers. Yeah. Mohawkers.
They all look like what's fallen out of the pages of 2000 AD.
Well, all right. So 2000 AD was on sale in Australia.
Okay.
Right.
It had to influence it, right?
Well, punk rock was in it, and that movie is an all Australian affair too. So you know what I mean? That's not American made Hollywood movie. That's made all by Australians. George Miller, total Australian. It's all cast down there. No, Hollywood had nothing to do except for to pick it up, to put it out. And Mel Gibson was still Aussie, back then, just Aussie actor. So I think either they had the same reaction to punk rock as the British culture did and tried to put it in everything to replace the old bad guys, which were probably, if that movie would have been 10 years earlier, it would all have been hippies, like biker gang type guys. But because punk rock was in and the haircuts were in, they moved it to that.
How threatening do they look, though? It's just takes your breath away.
At one point, the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, and another point, because they make these subtle things in the movie that makes it. It's why I love this thing more and more. These subtle things, like the guy that just his first reaction when something bad happens or he doesn't like somebody is go, and just make this. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's this animal thing. And he's got a pink mohawk,
and he's got the
and what looks
white
like
stripe, like Adam
a young gay Rob Halford on the back of his bike
with a chain connected to his belt.
That's his boy. That's his love boy.
It's
great. Something I just had the most fun since you did that. When I watched it, I had the most fun I had in months, Walt.
Good.
In fact, I didn't buy it. I'm a fool. I rented it, and I rented it again. I could have bought it
on Amazon.
Yeah,
me too. Yeah, I had it on DVD. I couldn't find my DVD player. I'm like, God damn it! I have it on DVD. Now I got to buy it.
Yeah,
but it. Okay, so let's just go some of my notes just to get I just want to get your thoughts on it. I'm glad that you enjoyed it as much as I did because it struck me when I saw it I'm in my like a sophomore or a junior when I see it, and my mouth is agape because I'm like, this is like a living comic book because there is it's just Superman, like Christopher Reeve. That's the only comic book movie that exists for me, and this is
this one gives you even more space. I mean, as supercharged as Superman is, he goes in outer space and all. This one really puts you into space. It's all that desert.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I see it in my
The
sleep.
Outback, they call it, I
Yeah,
guess.
the Outback. I've seen some of that. It really does exist. It's just in the movie, that all this stuff is happening in the middle of nowhere. In fact, you don't see anything else but nowhere.
Did you see it in the theater or did you see it years later?
I saw it in the theater.
Had you known that it was a sequel?
Yeah, because I had seen Mad Max.
Yeah, okay, I saw I was on a mission to go see Mad Max. After I saw that, I was like,
Yeah.
I gotta fucking see
Not
this
nearly
movie.
as good.
No, far
No.
inferior product than
Yeah.
like I'm waiting to see, like I'm amped to see Mad Max. I'm like, I need more of this. I need more of Mad Max,
Yeah.
but that is
They
not
never
what I got.
quite got.
Well, even the next one, the Thunderdome is not
No, they had never had it like that. Did you see the most recent one?
Furiosa, or the one with the guy from Venom, who's Mad Max, the new guy, Ed Hardy.
The latest Mad Max movie, when it was made a couple of years ago.
I saw it in the theaters again. Like the man, whoever gets as a cinematographer, it's breathtaking shots, but there's no story.
No, there's no story.
Everything's just a chase from the moment the movie starts to the moment it ends.
Well, I mean, arguably that's what people would say about this one, but but
I see a story.
It's
Yeah,
a very simple story, and it's a very moral story. It's old school morality play. That's all laid down in about like 3 lines of dialogue. Like, who are you, Max? We're here trying to save civilization on this side, and you're out there with the garbage. He says that, and you're out there with the garbage. Why wouldn't you be here? It's like, because, why? Something bad to happen to you, big deal. It happened to all of us. And there's no politically correct, or I'm going to say politically correct, but there's no disgenuine, like heart-wrenching thing. It just is what it is. The world's gone to shit. Everybody's lost somebody. He can't get over his loss. He lost his wife and his kid.
yeah.
In the first Mad Max movie. And when the guy who's the leader of the good guys is just like, I don't care about that. I don't care about what happened to you. It goes by really quick, but it lays the moral of the whole movie down.
There are 2 moments for me that Miller just really gets you to root for Max by giving him that dog and that feral kid.
Totally.
That feral kid is
the oldest trick in the book. A dog and a dog and a child.
And I said, it's like, why do people fall for it? But you know what? It works. You just love
Every
Max
time.
because he has a dog and he cares about a dog. In this inhumane world, he still is able to find something that he'll care for. And he doesn't want that kid he doesn't want to like fall for the kid, but he winds up, caring for the kid.
Talk about a great job of subtle acting. I mean, like, Mad Max could have been the biggest idiot on the face of the planet. I'm Mad Max, he's like, but Gibson plays it straight throughout the whole thing. His face rarely changes. So when he does have a smile, which is like 2 times in the whole movie, and it's not a toothy smile, it's always about something he doesn't want to let go. But he smiles a little when the kid gets the music box.
Yeah.
And then he smiles back at the helicopter man.
Yep.
The helicopter man's just going, come on, buddy. And he's just, at the end, he's like, the helicopter man's like, look what happened. He's like,
yeah.
But those smiles are everything in the movie.
Well, you mentioned there's not a lot of dialogue. So the actors have to convey, and they do a great job with little to no dialogue in the movie. And it's powerful stuff. And that score is
Brian May from Queen.
It's not that Brian May. Everybody thinks
it's not.
It's not that Brian May.
Okay.
But I put that as my favorite score.
That's an old school score,
in
too.
cinema history.
That would be considered just like the most ridiculous thing today. People would like, we scoff at it. But it totally works. It's blaring.
I love it.
It's outrageous. It's pulpy, old school Hollywood kind of action movie score.
So majestic. It's the beating. It's got everything that I would listen to it for hours on end.
Oh, it's killer. I mean, everything in that movie works the way you would dream of a movie like that to work. This is a pulp B picture that's taken on A+ status because of the care and artistry of the people involved. And the fact that they did it on that budget and it came out so great is just, every once in a while, everything goes right. And somebody's vision
and you have
comes out.
Access to enough vehicles that you could destroy and blow up shit.
Yeah. I mean, I know, I always like car chases, and I like, and my love of car chases began with like movies like Bullet and The French Connection. This is like the ultimate,
And how about that villain Humongous with the hockey mask? Like a gigantic bodybuilder that you never see his face.
He's just screaming and gesticulating into the, and they don't go to any backstory on any of the bad guys at all.
Nope.
I'm so glad they didn't. You know why? I don't want to know. I don't care. I'm one of those guys that don't care about the backstory of the villain. I don't care. I want I don't want the backstory of some villain, and and I hate people when they try to make you feel sorry for the villain. Yes. No, Humongous is good enough for me. Humongous, he's out there like, you did it, follow me, and just pumping it up and gesticulating, like, pointing and screaming. I was just like, and the fact that his dog of war, which I forget his name, but that's the
Dez or something,
the pink guy. Yes, yeah.
Dez.
He gets more screen time than because he's the guy that goes. It's a whole
tour de force, man.
Trip.
From the moment it starts to the moment it ends, it is just an enjoyable ride.
It's great. Like, we talked about this whole movie. We haven't talked about our favorite crashes or anything like that because it's better than that.
Yeah.
It's not about, the crashes are great and everything, but what makes the movie great is its morality and its cinematography and its pacing, which is second to none. Like, I keep mentioning Lawrence of Arabia, which is one of my favoritely paced movies. It's you go there and you're in that land, And I love the little tag at the front that explains what went before. It's very much like a comic book. Yes. What has happened before? And then all in black and white.
Yeah.
And in the dark days of the following. It's like, okay, get your popcorn.
And like Gibson, he doesn't have a ton of lines, and his performance is so good.
That's why he's just great.
He has the ability just to make an impact in every scene without even saying a word at times. And this would be, I guess, his introduction to America audience.
Mad Max. Well, Mad Max was an Australian movie, but it was played in America.
Did it get theatrically released in America? I never heard anything about that, but
I can't remember. I saw it. I just can't remember where I saw Mad Max.
But he would be, I think, thrust into superstardom, I guess, with the Lethal Weapon movies. That would be, I think, that would they would
over the top.
Yeah, but
and
he
had a couple of dramatic movies like The Year of Living Dangerously, which is a really good movie.
It is. I remember seeing that on cable after seeing.
It's got that beautiful Vangelis soundtrack.
Yeah. But I was like, I wanted to see more Mel Gibson stuff after The Road Warrior, and I remember sitting down and watching that, and I was like, man, I wish I was watching more Road Warrior.
Yeah. Stop talking, Mel.
Boy, but
it's fantastic. He was young. He's really good looking, and he doesn't play it that way. He plays it. It's such for a pulpy thing. I don't know how much, I'm sure George Miller had a lot to do with it, and they worked back and forth, and it was like, don't act. Don't act at all. You know what I mean? Like, and don't smile, but don't grit either. Like, he's not snarling.
No.
The only time he looks really different is when he gets his fucking eye blown up and he's like half a zombie because he got all burned up.
Yeah, it's like that ending shot of him as the caravan drives away and he's just standing there.
Yeah.
He's bloody but not bowed. He's just kind of like sitting in the road.
Right.
That's the final panel of a beautiful graphic novel.
How about that one little humongous shot that's like a collage of shots? It's very comic booky too, where humongous is screaming and stuff, and they're showing like a little collage of stuff that's going on, like people getting beaten, and it's just really, really cool. It's a nice little touch.
Yeah, what a phenomenal movie! Just was one of those movies that I would like when I saw it. Like, I couldn't stop telling people about it in school. I was just like, "You've got to see this movie."
And was there ever a script in that movie where the helicopter didn't exist? Because that really livens up the movie.
Yeah.
Because it gives you not only your view, a camera's eye view of it from above, but it gives you a perspective. You can actually identify the character. That's what it looks like to him. All that desert up in the sky with the chopper. I can't say enough good stuff about it, man.
I can't find one thing I don't like about it. There's not one I would change this. It's rare that you can't be like, I just wish they didn't do this, or I wonder why they did. I don't have any of those thoughts.
In fact, the stuff that I would like maybe have laughed at one point because of its cheapness or something, or like the pink-haired people and stuff, now is just charming to me. You know, and even all the little parts, of people going up and like, I was really wrong about you. Here, take these 6 shotgun shells that I saved.
Yeah. The group of people are trying to get out of the wasteland with as much gas as they can to get to
because they were guarding a well. Yeah,
a place that doesn't exist because they see an old brochure of a beautiful
I'm sure
vacation spot.
It's a vacation spot at the end of Australia. There are places like that.
Oh, okay.
I know what I've been to where they're going, and that's like Perth.
Do you think, but in a post-apocalyptic world, does that vacation place in the brochure
Sadly,
look the same?
No.
They're trying to get to a place that probably is not going to be all that much better.
I'm sure the weather's better, but there's probably inhabited by,
And Max
mutants.
initially just is like, I'll help you, but I want enough gas that I can carry, and I'll help you get out of here with the gas you need. So,
and then you never really know why. I mean, the only reason he helps him at the end is because his car got ruined, and now he's mad.
I thought it was because of the dog. I thought he was like, okay, these motherfuckers.
Yeah, it's true. And
in my heart, I was like, that's what made me like, oh my God, he wants revenge because they killed the dog.
Considering that you and I are such suckers for that stuff, they never really shot. There's no shot of him going wincing when his dog gets killed. Nothing.
But you hear the yelp.
Well, that's enough for you and me.
He heard it, though.
That's enough for you and me. Is it enough for the rest of the audience? Did they go yelp and then him go no? It's just
it's implied.
The movie tells you that bad things happen. Let's move on. I mean, you could guess that.
Now, do you recall the 80s with all the friggin' post-apocalyptic movies that were because it's the era of the video store, so there's a lot of cheap.
Yeah. The Cold War was still, and nukes were hot. I mean, that was the last, the fear of nuclear destruction was high.
I have a list of some of the top post-apocalyptic movies. I want to see if any of them you remember, or you like them, or like total trash. Mm-hmm. A Boy and His Dog.
It's okay. I mean,
Don Johnson.
It was good because of its time. It was a greater short story than it was a movie.
Damnation Alley. You remember you shaking your head? Remember? Jan Michael Vincent in an ark. They were like in it looks like a Tesla.
Again, a better short story than it was the movie. But yeah, you have to say yes because they were some of the first ones.
And they fought giant bugs. I guess they were irradiated by a nuclear.
Yeah, fallout. And they had a Cursed Earth stuff going on too. It was like that was Cursed Earth before Cursed Earth. Their Damnation Alley, a trip through apocalyptic wasteland.
1990, The Bronx Warriors. This is when you're really getting super cheap, low budget garbage.
I probably was just like, I don't want to see
Megaforce. It was on the back of almost all the comic books in 1982.
And I never saw it. Yeah, I remember the ads. Yeah,
the full page ad on the back of almost every book published in 1982 was a Megaforce movie poster. Never saw it too. But I guess the next most famous post-apocalyptic movie other than The Road Warrior for me would have to be Escape from New York.
Well, that's in a class by itself. That's a really, really, really cool movie. Absolutely cool.
Yeah,
Still. Snake Plissken, Hey, I got an argument with that. I didn't like Ernest Borgnine.
The cabbie?
Yeah, I didn't like the cabbie. I got a little.
What about the Duke of New York, which was Isaac Hayes?
Yeah,
some really weird.
No problem with
casting.
I have no problems with Isaac Hayes either. But okay, so we're talking that time period, but it should be said that before had some great predecessors like Charlton Heston in The Omega Man.
Yeah,
and Vincent Price in The Last Man on Earth, which is fantastic.
That's Richard Matheson too.
Yeah.
There's a Space Hunter: Adventures in the Forbidden Zone that was released in 3D when 3D hadn't been around in decades, and I remember
hadn't been around since the 50s, and it didn't work this time.
It didn't work either. I remember going to see it just because it was in 3D, and it was not very good. There's a ton of them, and why do you think the post-apocalyptic genre kind of shriveled up?
Because the Cold War went away. It's like that was the big bad was that we were going to, it was really, you were young, but there was a big fear that we were going to die in a nuclear holocaust. And when Reagan was elected president, he upped the ante on the Cold War and started shipping nukes to England all through. And what they were doing was trying to scare the Soviets into nothing and outspend them and scare them. And a couple movies came out, one called The Day After.
TV movie.
Yeah. And another movie came out called Threads from England, which is really disturbing. So not since the Cuban Missile Crisis had the world been that aware of nuke stuff. And along with the resurgence of science fiction with Star Wars, also came up in the Cold War and the idea of the post-apocalyptic, like, well, it's just a matter of time. So we might as well start making movies about what's going to come after because it's looking pretty much like it. And that was it. And then it kind of went away because the study of nukes, I think it was just too much for people after a while. They're like, enough. Plus, I mean, Hollywood did its best to burn it out.
Yeah, but there's nothing, to me, there's no better formula than not an outlaw, but a guy who, I guess, what's it called? The anti-hero in a post-apocalyptic world. It still works. If it's done, if you get the right actor and a good script.
It can always be done right. I mean, it's like, I can think of a million more precarious ways to go by making a movie. If you can't make a good movie out of that, you're a schmuck. Just get the right guy or the right girl or whatever you need.
Yeah.
And then let's not forget the morality. I think that's a lot of those movies forgot. That the corny old, if you don't have to do it full on corn, but you got to bring some corn in there. You got to,
Yeah, you got to pluck those heartstrings a couple times if you want the audience to cheer for your anti-hero.
There's weird stuff going on now where
they pluck the heartstrings, like you said, for the villains. And I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
What's the point?
They're trying to pluck heartstrings for everybody. And it's like, well, you're just diluting the formula. It's like, it's okay just to hate the guy. I mean, the way that they did it in Road Warriors, just like, that's the best ever. Not one bit.
And there's no backstory.
No, nothing. They're just bad people and they're in your face. And talk about hit the ground running. We were talking, that movie hits the ground running.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, you get the what has happened before page in the comic, and then you're in it. For the entire time to run the movie, there is no wasted time. It's like satisfaction, customer satisfaction. So much so that I rented it twice.
That is a mark of approval.
I got to watch it again.
Well, we are at the end of the episode. I want to thank you for joining us. We hope we've at least turned you on to some things maybe you didn't read or watch. And if you haven't, maybe check out The Road Warrior and some Ditko lists.
I you have to, if you don't, I don't know how many people are really listening to this because they read comics or what, but if you don't own Steve Ditko's Shades of Changing Man, shame on you. You can still get the original issues for like $1.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the hardcover is like $50. I thought you can get the originals for 50 cents to $1 if you look hard enough in the dollar bins. But thank you, Dave. Hopefully we can get back together a lot quicker than we did.
Yeah, we definitely have to do it.
And thank you for listening.
Thanks.